Hey everyone, what's up? This is Dr. Charlie Johnson, PT. Hope you're doing well. And first things first, appreciate checking out this video. Appreciate you checking out my channel. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am again a PT. I have my orthopedic board specialty, and I specialize basically in teaching you how to fix yourself. I give you the tools, knowledge, and understanding to resolve your own pain if you have some type of back, butt, and or sciatica problem that you just can't kick, you just can't get rid of. And in this video, I want to share with you a really cool conversation I had with a woman named Deb inside my private coaching program, the Glute Relief Accelerator program. Deb had like 8 to 10 years of back stuff and butt stuff, pain in that area that would come and go, but it had gotten worse over the past year or so, and she just didn't know how to get rid of it. And here's the other cool thing. She had dealt with migraines for over 20 plus years. She was told that they were originally due to hormonal issues, tried lots of stuff to fix it. Also was told that they were due to neck tension and just repetitive motion in that area from maybe working too hard or doing too much. And as you'll see here in a moment, she was not only within like a 4 to 5 week time frame, it would resolve the majority of her back and butt pain, but also was able to prove to herself that she could resolve her migraines, 20 years plus of migraines and headaches and neck and arm tension using the same exact principles that we taught her inside of the program. Even though they're in a total different area of the body, remember that the whole entire body is connected. And so if you have multiple aches and pains in different places, you have to ask yourself, I've been told that I have many different diagnoses, but is it possible there's one thing that's at the root of it all, right? And so this is what Deb was able to discover. Check it out. Maybe this is something that resonates with you, and so I just wanted to throw it out there.
At this point, I can't think of any questions. I mean, I have a couple of questions about the emotions and all that, but I'm just real excited that I've been working in my yard and doing other stuff and no migraines. So
No migraines.
yeah, so I'm just very happy.
Well, that is amazing. That is really cool. And you've had these migraines for a long time.
Yeah, like over 20 years.
Yeah. Now hold on a second, because you're in a program to resolve butt pain.
Yeah.
So what happened?
That's why I said, has anybody been thankful for butt pain? Because that's what got this started. And then I found out, oh my gosh, this is even better.
You got a twofer deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, that is awesome. So let me ask you this. I don't want to turn this too much into an interview, but this is really cool. What do you feel was most impactful so far with what you've learned? Like the real turning point for you?
Tracking, when I started, I mean, it didn't take too long to figure that out. I mean, maybe not that I figured it out, but that it worked. And when I realized that that was working for my butt and glute pain, and then I started feeling like, well, my shoulder doesn't feel so tight anymore. And then it dawned on me, oh, well, I could probably use this for my headaches too. And just thinking if that would work was exciting. And then when it started work the first time, I was like, well, maybe it's a fluke. Let's just wait and see if it happens again.
Yeah.
And you said if you can do it one time, you can repeat it.
Yeah.
Which is what I told my students for years. I taught school for 33 years. So it's like, okay.
She's like, I'm being schooled right now. I'm being schooled in school. This sounds familiar. Cool.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, it was almost like the pain reprogramming process, if you will, right? Of understanding, first off, evidence collection wise, that, wow, this is something that seems to be maybe more mind driven, or at least primarily. And well, what is in control of my body? Well, my mind. So if I'm having like pain down there, then this is still in the same body, migraines and everything else. And I could use those same concepts and sort of tools, if you will, or techniques to resolve migraines as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's cool.
And it's just, there's a word probably better than amazing, but the brain is amazing that it can do, first of all, what was happening, and I never knew it. And then that you can retrain your brain to not react to danger signals, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, way more than neat.
Now, did you?
I just can't even tell you how happy I am. I mean, it's been over 20 years.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now, did you think, like, was this what you expected though when you came into program? Meaning, like, is this what you think you were getting? Right? Everybody has, like, I have lots of people reach out to me and they're like, so I tried everything for my butt pain or for this or whatever. So how is it going to be any different? And I try to find like an interesting way maybe to say it, but I'm not sure I've succeeded. So, like, is this what you were expecting, or what was it about?
Well, what I was expecting was I have got to get rid of this butt pain and lower back pain because I cannot deal with this on top of migraines. I just learned to live with the migraines, and I would, if I knew I was going to do something that was going to cause a headache in the next day or two, then I would make sure I would do it when I didn't have other things, that I could be out for a day or two and not have to. I would plan when I was going to do something that was going to cause my migraine headache. And that was just my way of living. And then when I started with the lower back hurting and then the glute pain that happened, I thought, I can't deal with this. I can't do that on top of what I already got. Yeah. And a friend told me about you and a YouTube video, and because she had piriformis issues. And so I watched a couple of YouTube videos and I was doing the clam. And she mentioned sleeping with a pillow between my knees. And just the way I was sleeping, I knew when I watched the videos, I thought, oh, I have really stretched out that side because my leg was hiked way up over. And so I thought, it won't be the total fix. So I investigated more and decided, okay, I've got to join and do this and get rid of this. And then, like you said, I got a twofer.
So would you say it was worth it then? It's been worth it?
More than worth it.
Cool.
Okay, well, and I'll just say this. It's a lot of money to me, but it's not a lot of money when I know what an MRI costs because I've had one of those and I know how expensive that is. And when Nick interviewed me the first time, I said, I know what that costs. And so this, when you look at it that way, it's not a lot of money, but I mean, it is, but it's not when you figure that you're going to be able to get out of pain. It's worth every penny.
Yeah. Well, no, and I appreciate that too, right? Because there's like a value exchange there. And the way I think about it is this, like, at the end of the day, you can either bet on yourself or you can bet on someone else, right? And so a lot of people used to bet on me, meaning you bet on me, right? But you bet on me in a different way, meaning, like, if you were to come to old Charlie, or maybe you go down the street, you get your back cracked, you get your neck cracked, you get, some needles put in you or massage. It's like you go there, but that thing or that person is external to you. You're dependent upon that person. When reality, I used to do a lot of that stuff. I used to crack necks and backs. And what I found is I was good at fixing the person in the moment, but people were inherently bad at fixing themselves. And that was my fault. I didn't teach them, give them the tools, knowledge, resources, and mentorship or guidance so that in the middle of the night when they hurt, in the middle of the garden when they hurt, in the middle of whatever when they started to hurt, that they would know what to do to feel empowered, to feel like they had the tools and the resources to make decisions around, should I do this? Should I not do this? Is this okay? Should I, go this path or should I go that path? And so that's really sort of what I'm passionate about now is like, when it's like the whole, you teach a man to fish, you feed him for life, right? You give him, well, I don't know, he's going to be hungry tomorrow kind of thing. I screw up the quote every time, but you get the idea. Okay. And so it's like, hey, if you could invest some time and energy and yes, some money now, right, in something that is yourself, your own knowledge and understanding of something, how could that serve you not only now, but you own it forever? You could use this now to fix knee pain in the future, right? And so it's like this one-time sort of investment, if you will, to have a tool and a strategy as a human, right, who has a brain and who has a body, such that you can leverage it and better understand it for better health in the future, versus I go and I get decompression for 10 visits, and then guess what? When I'm gone, well, they have the machine and I'm kind of out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I got to keep going forever.
Yeah, I don't love it. I think the business model is really great, right? But I'm not sure it's what is best for the world and people like you. So I just chose to not do that.
Well, I'm glad.
Cool. Awesome. Well, you're crushing it, my friend. It's a dangerous, aggressive word. So I don't want to put any more danger signals out there, right? But you get it. you understand the sort of, if you want to call it mind-body connection, right? Mind controls body. And if you change the way that you perceive things, what you perceive changes, right? Meaning like the way, if you change the way you look at things, what you look at changes. And that's essentially what you did, is you kind of just like upgraded your software.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You thought you needed a hardware upgrade, but you really needed like a software upgrade.
Yeah.
All right, Deb. Hey, go garden, go have fun. And I don't know, we'll chat soon. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
See ya. No problem. Bye.
Bye. I thought I had two separate issues. I mean, the whole reason that I joined was because my lower back and glute pain was horrible. And as I've been going through the first phase and then the second phase, especially, I thought, well, it might be that my headaches and all that going on, because the pain starts in my lower back hip area and then goes up, and I feel it in my shoulder, and I feel like I got knots back here behind my shoulder blade and all the way up. And then I get a migraine headache. And it's usually after I've done something, like a lot of weeding in the yard or anything. Could be something sitting down sewing, and I had this idea in my head because somebody else planted it, that it's repetitive motion. And so if I do too much repetitive motion, and it would just got to be a cycle. And so now I'm thinking, well, maybe it's really my brain saying you can't do this. And it's not, I know it's not structural, but I thought it was, okay, I've inflamed all my muscles, so therefore I'm going to have pain, which is going to end up being a migraine headache, and just got into that cycle.
Yeah, it became essentially a script that you've been telling yourself, not your fault, but started off with like the seed being planted, and you just kind of ran with it. And then you just, here's the thing, reinforced it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other day, well, last week I had a horrible migraine headache, and the whole, and so the other day when I went outside and I saw some things I needed to do, and I was going to plant a couple of things, and I thought, well, let me just see, I'll just do this for a little bit, and then maybe I won't have any muscle aches or anything. While I was doing it, it started hurting, and I just kept telling myself, I'm not doing anything that's harmful. I'm not doing a lot. It's not like I'm out here for 5 hours. You can do this for 45 minutes. And I ended up with, later on that evening, if my muscles started, and I thought, no, I'm okay. I didn't do anything. And I kept that talk going on. And every once in a while I would think about, okay, am I hurting anywhere? No, I'm doing fine. And I ended up with no migraine, which usually I would. So that's when I thought, okay, that's what I need to do.
Yeah. So you're going to take the principles that you're going to learn, and you're going to apply them universally. The program can not only help with the back and the butt stuff, but it sounds like it can also, and you have some good evidence now, resolve everything else.
So if I'm doing something, I mean, like I can literally feel my muscles tighten up, and I feel like there's a knot back there. But I mean, that can happen, and that can be normal and not go into a full-blown migraine, right?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, right, if you understand really big picture, let's zoom out for a second. What is pain? Pain is a danger signal. That's all it is. Now, it might be a real danger signal. Stick your hand on a stove and, right? For most people, it's not. You ever stick your hand on a stove and you go, but you realize it wasn't turned on. It was just like really cold. The metal was cold, or like the stove top was cold. And you're like, oh, wait, that was weird. Or like maybe like under hot water, like you thought for some reason it was gonna be hot, but it wasn't, And so it can send these false alarms. All right. And after some time, if you reinforce the script, which you've been led to believe, oh, there's muscle tightness. By the way, muscle tightness in this case, okay, not for everybody, but muscle tightness is just another danger signal. That's it. It's just a sensation. People like to try to classify, oh, numbness, that's a structural problem. Maybe, maybe not. The brain can mimic anything. Tricky. Oh, tightness, that's a physical thing. Well, yeah, you feel the tightness. but it could be perceived tightness. Sensation. Pain equals sensation plus fear, worry, concern, anxiety, stress, whatever. If you can remove that reaction to it, then it just becomes a sensation. And I mean, we all have sensations that we don't even notice throughout the day. Like you have a sensation right now with your shirt touching your skin. Some people get really sensitized to that stuff, right? And so what happens is like tightness can be a sensation. Replace tightness with not, with, I don't know, anything. Tightness, stretching, tension, heaviness, weirdness, tingliness, anything. I've seen every possible explanation of pain that seems very structural also show up as being driven by brain, right? There are some people who present when I was PT in the emergency room. I'm having stroke, I'm having stroke, I'm having stroke. Face looks like it's drooping. Looks like you're having stroke. My face is numb. Wasn't. It was their brain. Stressful event. Dad just died. Mom just had a heart attack. And I'm having heart attack. You know, whatever. Now, it doesn't mean you don't get that checked out. But what happens is that people get this stuff checked out, and it's kind of like they can't really find the reason for it. Or they might go through surgeries and still can't find the reason for it, right? And so if you've had lots of different tests and lots of different people try to find the source of all this stuff, and you cannot, understand, and or they can't really clearly agree upon this is the exact cause and there's no question about it, even then sometimes, then they can't agree for a reason. And sometimes the lack of a pattern is the pattern, right? So people come and like, no, they can't figure it out. It's not making sense or whatever. And then I would be there as the mentor, tapping that student or whoever on the shoulder who's saying that, right? Or you as the person in pain, right? Being like, there's a reason they can't find the pattern. No pattern is the pattern. All right. Okay. And so does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I think now that it's happened one time and I didn't have a migraine is kind of like fuel for, okay, I can do this again. And I can do the things I want to do without worrying about something's going to happen and I'm going to have a migraine.
You got it.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. Yep. Yeah. And so we call that an exception, right? If you can do it just one time, it means it can be done again. My daughter the other day, she's climbing across the monkey bars, right? Falls off halfway through, but gets halfway right here to this rung. You got it, babe. Right. And then she does it again and like can barely go. Right. And she gets down on herself. I said, look, you did that one time. You know what that means? You can do it again. Okay. And so here's the thing, like it's easy when it's like someone else. Well, that person could do it and I can't. But like when you've had an experience like you just had, or like, hey, how long have you had migraines for?
Way back. I mean, first I was told when I was, I don't know, in my 20s, oh, it's hormonal. And I really could believe that because it happened monthly. And I mean, it was like clockwork. But then when I got older, I didn't have migraines anymore. And I really don't remember what happened, but it's been a long time, like years, I don't know, 20 years, maybe longer than that. Something at some point happened where I had a migraine and my muscles were all knotted up. And then I was told, oh, it's repetitive motion. And so that started that whole cycle. And that's been years and years of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my guess is this, right? And I could be wrong, and I may be. It's totally fine, right? Because definitely you can have hormonal stuff that causes this. But it's also possible now with what we're learning, I don't know, 20 years later, right? The hindsight's always 20/20, right? That it could have been a conditioned response. You were told, just like you were told muscle tension, this repeated itself. You were told it's hormonal. So then guess what? Oh, that time of month again, hormonal. That's what they told me. Yep. That's the script that I go by because that's what I was told. So that's how it shows up. Right. And it just like a mirror, it just reflects in how it shows up. Right. And then later it changes a little bit. Oh, muscle tension. See, can't do the things I want. You limit your life, unfortunately, because you don't want muscle tension. And yep, it shows up. When I get more muscle tension, migraine. When I get more muscle tension, migraine. Motion, Repetitive motion bad, migraine. Repetitive motion bad equals migraine. Sucks, but I'm glad you're here now. It's good.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, take the same concepts, and it doesn't mean that structural things can't cause problems. It just means that for some people, when you look at the big picture and you look at all the evidence and you do the investigation, you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, it's just not. It doesn't make sense. And if it's weird, then it's usually wired, which is probably what you'll find out.
Okay.
And here's the cool thing: like, we're humans, so some people are like embarrassed by that, but it's like very normal. Like, just like you can learn anything else, like to garden. I would like to learn how to garden, by the way. Just talk about gardening, right? But you can learn to experience this stuff, right? And the stories, the scripts that were fed, very powerful. Yeah, so something to think about.
Okay.
Cool. No, like, it must be hard for you at this point to be like, holy smokes, this whole time,
Yeah.
20 years. That's where I'm sure your brain goes, probably, right? It could have been something, had I known about some of these concepts, that maybe I didn't have to limit my life, or maybe I didn't have to not garden as much as I wanted or avoid stuff. And look, it's going to take practice. You're not out of the weeds yet, but like, it's doable.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully that interview, if you will, sort of completely off the cuff, by the way, not scripted and or planned. She was actually just jumping on a coaching call to get some confirmation about whether or not that what she thought was true. Dr. Charlie, is it really true that I came in here to resolve, into this program, to resolve my back and butt problems, but that those same things could resolve years of migraines? And as you saw, the answer was yes, right? And so hopefully you see the power of the scripts which you've been living your life by, the power of the seeds which have been planted, others telling you why you hurt, and the sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that occurs when you're told that, hey, your headaches or your butt pain or whatever it is in the body is due to X, Y, and Z. Then you start to learn that, oh, see, I'm going to be doing that. Oh, it's going to hurt. And yep, see, they're right. And you can learn to condition yourself to experience those things. And another thing, though, that I want to highlight, because I can see the comments now, right? And or I can see people trying this, and you can if you want, but people just going home being like, oh, so Deb just told herself, like, hey, I have pain, and like, oh, it's not real. By the way, it is real. Or like, hey, I don't feel it, and like, oh, you can go away now, and it just goes away. Like, Charlie, I tried that, and there's no way it's going to work. You're right. You can't just tell yourself that the pain that you feel is not there or is not real, or that, hey, it can just go away. It won't work. Why won't it work? It won't work because you don't believe it, right? And here's the thing. You can't believe that your mind could have such power and your belief system could have such power if you currently believe that something within the system is broken, is structurally damaged, is wrong with you, right? If you believe that the pain that you're experiencing currently is due to some physical damage within the body, which, by the way, it may or may not be, but in Deb's case, it was not, then you will be unable to just sit there and tell yourself, hey, that which I'm feeling, it can just go away. It's no big deal. I'm not doing anything to hurt myself. Your brain's going to say, BS, that's not true. I feel pain, it's very real, and Charlie, that doesn't work. You can't help me. And so the difference is that you need to build evidence. Maybe your pain is due to a structural problem, maybe it's not. But you need to build evidence for yourself such you can get to that point of conviction and belief, such that then when you tell yourself that which Deb told herself, it works and it's effective because you bought into it. And this isn't buy into it blindly. This is, I've looked at the evidence. I've reviewed the case, your case. I've done the investigation. And it's clear as day, Charlie. You're onto something. You're right. And so I can buy into that. Or you can buy into that. Once you've built a case to prove or disprove the source of your symptoms, chronic or not. And so what I want you to do, if you haven't already checked it out, is feel free to download my Better Than an MRI DIY Diagnostic Guide and be sure to go through the whole thing. People go through it and they're like, hey, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for a reason. Go all the way to the final pages. Make sure that you watch a video at the very end. Talk about sort of the missing puzzle piece and or the missing link, okay, something like that. And watch that video, and in that, I share what I call sort of an evidence list, all right? And I show you pieces of the puzzle that point to the root cause of different types of pain, all right? As Deb went through this, as Deb went through an in-depth sort of version of this inside the program, so what I have people do right away is build their own evidence lists and start to challenge their belief system about what's going on. Because for 20 plus years, Deb believed that her migraines were due to hormonal problems and muscle repetition or overuse, and it had nothing to do with that. And unfortunately, because she lived by that script, she limited her life, she boxed herself in, and she missed out on a lot of life. Right? And as you can see now, she was grateful to be a part of the program because she just learned something completely new. Right? She was ignorant of it before, not because it was her fault, but because nobody shared this with her. And so check out that DIY diagnostic guide, educate yourself, right? Gain some knowledge about sort of the root origin of symptoms, structural or not, and that'll be a start. Because only then, when you truly know, when you've actually gone through, done the investigation, done your homework, done the self-study required to believe and see for yourself. We're not pulling this out of thin air. To see for yourself the source of your symptoms. Only then can you move forward with a treatment that's going to work for you and have full belief and conviction in that. And so that's how Deb was able to say, you know what, pain? I feel you, but we're not going there. Right? And she was able to shut it down. That's that. Deb came into the program for back and butt problems. Not only did she resolve that, but she also resolved 20 plus years of migraine. So lots of people say, hey, Dr. Charlie, so I know you just treat this problem, can you help other problems? Well, we start with teaching you the principles for the back and the butt and leg and sciatica type stuff. But then you can take those same principles if you're willing to do the work and learn and be a good student. Y'all are good students out there, especially if you've been stuck in pain for a while. To be a good student, to then apply those things. Learn first, apply the techniques, and then teach. And the cool thing is Deb has now shared inside the community some of her wins and is teaching other people what is possible. All right. So hopefully this was useful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is this something that resonates or not? Be sure to hit the like button and then subscribe for other like videos. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Chat soon.